Hello, my name is Kim Davenport, and I'm the Communications Manager for Tacoma Historical Society. And this is my historic Tacoma home, which is celebrating its 100th birthday this year. This house was built in 1922. Have you ever come up to a house in Tacoma and seen one of these plaques and wondered what that means to be on the historic registry? Well, in honor of my home's 100th birthday, and also in honor of Historic Preservation Month this May, I am inviting you to learn the story of this house from the man who built it and why he was important to Tacoma, and also the unique architectural details of this house. I'm going to share that story with you, and then also share an interview I did with folks from the city's Historic Preservation Office and the Tacoma Public Libraries Northwest Room. Great resources if you are interested in doing this kind of research into your home. It's what got me into doing history research in Tacoma in the first place, more than 20 years ago when I moved into this house and was curious about its history. So thank you for helping me celebrate my house's birthday, and enjoy. When my family purchased this home in 1999, we were just the fourth owners. Thankfully, architectural details remained substantially unchanged. However, there was an enormous amount of maintenance work that needed to be done on the home. My interest in history and love of historic homes led me to research the background of the house, to find out who had built it, to learn more about the architecture, and that led to its nomination and addition to the Tacoma Register of Historic Homes. In the years since, many important improvements have been made, but all with an eye to maintaining the original integrity of this beautiful historic home. The amazing resources at the Northwest Room of the Tacoma Public Library were my main source for research into the history of the home, as well as the biography of its builder, Claude Gray. Thankfully, we also had the opportunity to welcome Claude's son, Neil, into the home to share his memories of the building of the house and his time growing up here. The home is a prominent neighborhood landmark on Tacoma Avenue, sitting just one block from Lincoln High School on the west and the Lincoln Business District to the south and southwest. This home was designed and built by Claude Gray, an individual important in Tacoma's history for a variety of significant and lasting contributions to the city. It is also a memorable neighborhood landmark in the Lincoln District, and more about that in a moment, and a fine example of an English craftsman home, which remains in excellent and substantially unchanged condition from the time it was built a century ago in 1922. Claude Gray, born in 1877, is most prominently known as the founder of Gray Lumber Company, Tacoma's oldest retail lumber company. Gray Lumber was founded in 1903 with its original location in the Lincoln District, and it has continued to thrive as a family business to the present day. In addition to his lumber company, Mr. Gray had other civic and commercial interests. He served as director of the Tacoma School Board from 1911 to 1916, and it was during this time that the school board was responsible for Lincoln Park High School, now known as Lincoln High School, being built in its current location. In 1926, Mr. Gray founded Lincoln Bank, which was located at the corner of South 38th and Yakima. So it is no wonder, when choosing a site for his family home in 1922, that he remained close to both his business and civic interests in the heart of the Lincoln District. Let's begin our tour with the exterior. When we first moved into the home in 1999, there was a simple chain link fence around the property and some aging fruit trees. One of our first projects was to re-landscape with native plants, which are now quite mature 20 years later. At that date, both stories of the home were covered with asbestos siding. We were able to restore the original cedar shake siding on the upper level, and on the lower level, hardy plank has replaced the original siding. Original wood windows were intact throughout, although quite leaky and aging, and covered with vinyl and aluminum storm windows. We have since removed the storms and replaced all of the original wood windows with appropriate replicas approved for restorations of older houses. The home is a prominent neighborhood landmark on Tacoma Avenue, sitting on a corner lot just 1 block from Lincoln High School on the west and the Lincoln Business District to the south and southwest. The general shape of the home is a somewhat irregular rectangle. It has 2 full floors and a hip-on gable roof with large front and back dormers and windowed gables. The front entrance is recessed under the roof, which is slightly swept forward under the front dormer. The porch is closed on the south by the protrusion of the sunroom and more open on the north since the dining room does not extend as far forward on the front. It is a craftsman-style home with all the characteristic built-in bookcases and window seats, fireplace, open floor plan, simplicity and consistency of design, use of natural varnished wood, and built-in light fixtures. However, it is unusual in this Tacoma neighborhood of 1 to 1.5 story Northwest craftsman bungalows in that it also features what were commonly considered in the 1920s to be English architectural characteristics. English features of this home include the steep roofline, inset dormers, gables with rows of windows, varying roof planes, and the offset recessed porch treatment. One of the most outstanding and unusual characteristics of the house, which was commonly thought of as an English architectural idea, is the large number of windows, many in connected rows, on all levels. The house contains over 45 windows. Every window in the home, including interior wood and glass folding doors and glass doors on built-in cabinets, is multi-paned with the same 9-pane pattern on either the entire window or the upper portion of double-hung windows. The house is built around a central stairway. The first floor plan has the living room on the south side and the dining room and kitchen on the north. Access to the dining room, kitchen, living room, stair to the second floor, and a walk-through closet leading to a main floor bathroom are all available directly through the doors surrounding the large square entry hall, into which the front door opens directly. An interesting original feature of the entry hall is a large oak grate in the floor to the left of the door, which, according to Neil Gray, was a modern invention in 1922, in which a pan of water, replaceable from the basement, sat below the grate to clean the air in the house. If all the doors connecting the entry hall are open, the entry space connects the first floor rooms to each other in an almost entirely open floor plan. If closed, each room can become private without losing light or visibility. Folding wood and glass doors separate the living and dining rooms from the front hall on the left and right of the entrance. They are of plain window glass and the same fir which is used throughout the living and dining rooms. These doors can be folded back into the room to be entirely out of sight, or completely closed and latched to separate each space, yet still allow light and visibility. The living, dining, and front hall areas are trimmed with old-growth fir with the original varnish around windows and doors, on the walls of the windowed alcove in the west end of the living room, and in a 9-inch cove molding around the ceilings. The south wall of the living room has a light-colored brick fireplace with an inset diamond motif, a simple mantel of the same varnished fir with built-in candle-shaped light fixtures, and a terrazzo hearth. The hearth terrazzo pattern here is also used in the upstairs bathroom and the hearth of the lower-level fireplace. There is a large wood-framed window on either side of the fireplace, with a built-in window seat and storage box beneath each window. Next to each window seat is a built-in bookcase with double-glass, 9-paned doors and adjustable shelves. The fireplace, windows, and built-in seats and bookcases fill the entire south wall of the living room. Neil Gray remembers these built-ins being constructed as an integral part of the room when he was watching the building of the house. At the westernmost end of the living room, Original matching wall sconces are set into each side of a large wood frame that defines the main portion of the living room from a special windowed solarium or sunny sitting area, which in a different architectural treatment might actually have been part of the front porch. The frame separating these sections of the room also still has the original brass stays designed to hold a heavy curtain to separate this area of the room. The living room, dining room, and front hall all have the original quarter-sawn oak floors in excellent condition with the original finish. When we moved in 1999, all of these spaces had the original wallpaper. As it was quite damaged by smoke, as well as having several tears, we have replaced it with wallpaper designed after patterns of the era. Going from the entry hall straight ahead to the upper floor, the partially open staircase reaches a landing with a substantial painted wood banister and turns to the right into a large open hall which features a built-in linen cabinet and access to a laundry chute. There are 3 large bedrooms and a bathroom on this second level. All floors are the original fir in excellent condition, and each bedroom features original light fixtures, substantial light from windows, and large walk-in closets. Although we have replaced ancient bathroom fixtures with new ones, the upstairs bathroom does still retain one phenomenal architectural feature, which is its original terrazzo floor. The full basement is accessible through the kitchen and also from the backyard through an outside door. There is a large room directly below the living room, which, according to Neil Gray, remains very much as it looked when he was a teenager and used to hold dance parties in this space. The room contains a fireplace very similar to the one just above it in the living room, with a matching terrazzo hearth. Neil Gray was also able to share with us that the home was originally heated by a wood-burning furnace, which his father later had converted to oil. There remains a space in the basement that was a wood bin, allowing for wood to be delivered from the outside directly into a space next to the furnace. One of my favorite details is a panel of wood next to where the original furnace was located, where it appears that someone took very detailed notes about maintenance and problems with that furnace, some of them a bit explosive in nature. Consistent details throughout the home include original lath and plaster walls, original woodwork, which is painted upstairs and varnished down, original light fixtures and sconces, with original push-button switches in most rooms, and original brick and concrete work on the front and back porches. Hello, my name is Kim Davenport, and I am the Communications Manager for Tacoma Historical Society. And I have asked 2 wonderful people to join me today to talk about researching your historic Tacoma home. This is a question that we all get very often from people in Tacoma. I want to learn more about the history of my house, and how do I go about doing that? And I might want to add my house to the historic register for Tacoma. How do I do that? So I thought we should all get together and answer some of those questions. So I'm very pleased to be joined by Spencer Bowman from the Tacoma Public Libraries Northwest Room and Susan Johnson from the City of Tacoma's Historic Preservation Office. So thank you so much both for being with me today.
Thanks for having us.
And I think, yeah, thank you. And I think we will start, let me switch over to speaker view here. I think we'll start with Spencer. So when we get these questions, and when you get these questions in the Northwestern, what are some of the resources that you can point people towards, and what are some of the amazing search tools that you have at the Northwestern?
Well, we've recently completely redesigned our homepage, our Northwestern homepage, and built a research guide for just that purpose of people who are curious about researching their home. They can kind of use, there's a lot of resources out there, and I've been trying to kind of create a one-stop kind of jumping off point where people can find information on buildings that are already on the historic register that they're curious about, that they saw downtown, or resources for their home, or pictures, or architecture materials and stuff like that. So I want to share my screen here and show you how to get there and how to use some of these resources. So first thing you can do is you can type in www.tacomalibrary.org/northwest room, all one word, and that will bring you to our new and improved homepage. And from here, you can scroll down and you can reach any of our collections and databases on the top. And if you continue scrolling past the blog, you can see this banner for home building and research resources. And this is where I would recommend everybody to start if they're curious. There's kind of resources of all kinds. And they're grouped together in sort of what someone might be interested in. So if you're interested in previous owners and occupants, there's some resources here, such as city directories, which we have available in the library, that are kind of like phone books in a way that list people living in the town by address or last name. So they're valuable for genealogy resources as well, kind of track people through time and in the city. So there's like one per year that come out. Also a valuable resource that kind of can ballpark a time when a building was built as well. And so there's previous owner occupant resources here, images and blueprints. So there's some internal collections we have, and all these are hot links. So I can click on any of the blue text, and that will bring me right to that resource. So this is actually connecting to Northwest Orca, our new database. And these are the Merit architectural records that we don't have them all digitized, but there is an index here. You can click this, and that'll give you access to the different series. And there's corresponding documents here that let you kind of look it up, and we'd be happy to look into those records for you and work out you can come in and take a look, or we could work out a way to scan them. But let me jump over back to the guide here. So there's image and blueprint references, maps and neighborhood resources. And out of all these types of links and websites, start at the top at the buildings index. Sorry, this is still kind of new. So the buildings index, some people may have heard of it. It's a address by address guide of buildings and their histories and citations that mention the building and other information. So each building and there's many buildings in here, has a record for that building itself. So just as a example, I'm going to type in the library's address. You don't even have to type the full address as long as you get, there we are. So I can scroll down and there's images and pictures, but within each record, you click on the address, you can see corresponding images from our collection that have that building in it. And if you keep scrolling down, you can see information on the builder, information on the architect, and citations for each entry in a newspaper or magazine where that building or address is mentioned. So some of them just have the title, like there's like really early things have permits. And then as time goes on, there's going to be more information. There's usually a little bit of a headline, and then within the parentheses, there's a little bit more information. So IL means there's an illustration. And so that's a nice place to go to find specific things on that particular building. Now, the library building is going to have a lot of mentions. Most homes and things, there's still going to be entries in here. But for instance, some of them have pictures. Not all houses will have pictures, but each single family homes are going to have a lot less mentions in the newspaper. But this is kind of a good place to start. And for instance, this one has a library call number for a book. So there's a mention of this address in the book. and we can help you find these and look up these newspaper citations and get those and email those to you or print them and mail them to you, along with the book references as well. So yeah, feel free to reach out to us at the library here for any questions on that. But yeah, I would just encourage anybody to kind of scroll through these, take a look at the subject headings up here, and do some exploring. We've all used those. My colleague Alona and I have used these resources many times. So if you had any questions, you can feel free to call us. At the Northwest Room, our number is 253-280-2814. And yeah, I would say that's probably the best place to start.
Great. This new website looks fantastic, and especially to have that page specific to, researching your own home or building. That's just really a wonderful way to bring all those resources together. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thanks, Kim.
So Susan, if someone decides after doing this research at the Northwest Room that they are really eager to maybe pursue actually having their home or building added to the city's historic registry, how would they go about getting that process started?
Great question. And we were talking earlier about frequently asked questions and misconceptions. Our office, the Historic Preservation Program Office within the City of Tacoma, often gets confused for the Historical Society, which we are separate. There is the Preservation Program. There's Tacoma Historical Society, which is separate, which is you. And then there's also Historic Tacoma, which is a local nonprofit advocacy group. So 3 distinct bodies. And then the Landmarks Preservation Commission is a citizen commission that the city staff work to support. We're staff liaisons for that. So all these different groups, but the Landmarks Preservation Commission is the group that reviews nominations to the local Tacoma Register of Historic Places. If people are interested, you can always reach out and ask. Ruben McKnight is our Historic Preservation Officer. I'm the Historic Preservation Coordinator. We're both happy to answer questions, but there is a lot of information online, and I'll see if I can share my screen. So this is the City of Tacoma's website. There is a historic preservation section, and within that, there's information on nominating a landmark. And just really quickly, there is a local register. There's also a Washington State register, and there's the National Register. There are 3 different levels of historic register listing. So the Landmarks Commission reviews Tacoma nominations. There's information here on the steps. There are some basic criteria. Generally 50 years is the minimum to be considered historic. So the property must be at least 50 years old at the time of nomination, and then also retain integrity of what we call the 7 aspects, which are location, design, setting, materials, workmanship, feeling, and association. The building has to retain enough integrity of those 7 aspects so it's able to convey its historical, cultural, and architectural significance. And then if you meet those 2 basic criteria, there are A, B, C, D, E, and F are the criteria. And you can pick more than one. You don't have to just fall under one, but you have to meet at least one of those lettered criteria. I'd say most commonly it's A, B, or C. Yeah. So associated with events that have made a significant contribution to broad patterns of history, or associated with lives of persons significant in our past, or is embodies the distinctive characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction, or represents the work of a master, and it goes on. You can read for yourselves. Those are probably the most common, A, B, and C. When it comes to research, depending on what criteria you think might apply for your house, you want to do research and build the story, build the context, and that's where the Northwest Room comes in handy. They have amazing resources, and I'm so excited to see that new website, Spencer. Want to go check it out. When you have I'd say a draft or a start to your nomination, it's always great to reach out and get some feedback. When a nomination is considered, ready for review, then it will be scheduled for reviewed by the Landmarks Preservation Commission. And generally, the process from when you start that to when you go before City Council, and also I should say the Landmarks Commission reviews and recommends nominations, but those then, if something gets then forwarded to City Council, that's when it actually gets listed. It's by City Council, not by our commission. So the entire process could take 4 to 6 months in general. So yeah, but definitely reach out with any questions. And there's, like I said, a lot of information here online too.
Great, thank you so much. And I will bring us back to gallery view. And I'll just share a little bit of my story with my house, because it's actually what got me into researching Tacoma history in general, was getting started. I moved into my house just over 20 years ago now, and was very interested in finding out about its history. And that led to one research snowball project after another. And now I know a lot about Tacoma history, but just really wonderful to delve into both all the resources at the Northwestern and then also work with the staff at the city to learn even more about my house. So thank you both so much. And I will hopefully see you both in person soon.
Thank you, Kim.
Hope so. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.